Hey everybody, welcome to the Mother Figures podcast. I'm Caitlin Darkangelo, founder and co-owner of FIGR, Midwestern wife and girl mom. I'm a dual certified pregnancy and postpartum trainer, majored in exercise science from the University of Michigan, earned my master in management degree from Duke University, and have been coaching in the fitness industry for over a decade. This podcast dives into all things pregnancy and postpartum fitness, especially in how to navigate strength and intensity training in these seasons. Whether you're in it yourself, trying to get pregnant, or coaching this population, you're in the right place. I'm excited to share personal experiences, client stories, guest interviews, and evidence-based strategies to give you the guidance, insights, and clarity needed to navigate these seasons with confidence. And with that, let's get rolling. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Mother Figures podcast. Today I am going to talk a little differently, I guess, in terms of content. So normally I talk all about pregnancy and postpartum fitness and kind of more technical gym stuff. But this past weekend, I was asked to be on an alumni panel at the University of Michigan for the kinesiology fraternity over there. And so I kind of wanted to take a podcast episode for, I'm going to go over like the questions that they asked us, but it was more so for kinesiology or science background people that then went the business and entrepreneur route. There's some really interesting questions, and it got me just thinking about how we started FIGR and kind of our road to get to where we are right now. So this is going to be a little bit more like business-esque and kind of how we got our footing as a business, growing FIGR over time. It's now been 11 years since I've been in the fitness industry with like my own business in different regards, which I'll kind of go into. But it was just really cool. Like it was in one of the graduate buildings at Michigan. I was there from 2013 to 2017. So I was a 2017 grad. There was eight total panelists that were ranging from 2002 alumni to 2024 alumni. So it was cool to see the perspectives of all different like age ranges and kind of what everybody's up to now. It was just funny because I felt like I was even like still a college student, but then when you look at all the college students, they're all like so young looking. So it was a cool thing to be invited to go speak at Michigan. And then also like be able to talk about FIGR, because sometimes when you are in the business world, especially entrepreneurship, you can always get this like imposter syndrome and just feel like you're not growing enough or not doing enough. And so when you're asked to do something like this, you're like, okay, like maybe I am making a difference and like doing better than like you thought you were. So it was a really cool experience in general. But I wanted to go through three questions that they had asked each of the panelists that I thought was really, really cool, or like, helped me frame out different pieces of my own business ventures. So if you are interested in learning about FIGR's background, or maybe you are on the fence of starting your own business or coaching career, whatever it may be, this is your kind of podcast. So first question that they had asked us was, what made you decide to go the route of starting your own business? And for me personally, I kind of always felt like I was a business person, or like I was going to go into business. I even have pictures of myself. I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, sitting at a like lemonade stand, and I painted rocks, and I sat there the entire day, my parents said, just like waiting for customers and like, just like selling stuff. And so I kind of have always had that like business mindset or business personality in a sense. But didn't really connect the dots until about 2015. I was a sophomore at Michigan at the time. And on Instagram, I saw an ad to start your own online coaching business in the fitness world. And I was like, that sounds like the coolest thing ever. I'm doing it. Like, I saw the post, I messaged the person. You actually, at that time, Instagram, you would put your email in the comments, and then the person would take those emails and email you. There was no Instagram DMs. There was no Instagram stories. So it was very direct selling essentially on Instagram back then, where you would literally just post your email, which sounds crazy now. because everybody would probably spam you. But anyways, back then, that's kind of how it happened. So the lady emailed me. We went back and forth, maybe 4 or 5 emails, just asking questions, and I signed up. And what that ended up being was a Beachbody coach. So if those of you who weren't around during that time, it was the direct sales network marketing time, where, you know, there was Beachbody, there was Arbonne, there was all these different kinds of like direct selling companies and businesses. And they kind of have a bad rep now. But for me personally, that is what really showed me that I loved business, and that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a fitness business, or I wanted to work with fitness in the business realm. And that just like opened my eyes. And one thing I want to say about that too is when I saw that post, I didn't go around asking for people's advice or like seeing what everybody else thought about it. I just saw it. I knew I wanted to do it, and I just did it. And I am so glad that I did not go around asking for everybody's opinions, because obviously people are going to have negative opinions. Some people are going to say, go for it. But it truly was like my own decision because I was excited about it. And I think a lot of people get stopped in their business or entrepreneurial ventures because they ask too many people about their opinions, and everybody's going to have an opinion of their own. And you have to kind of take a step back sometimes and just do something that you feel passionate about or called to do. And so I'm really glad at that point in time that is what I did. I just kind of like went all in for it. I didn't have any perceived notions of direct sales at the time. I still think they have plenty of good lessons to be learned. I learned a lot of business lessons while doing it Beachbody. I probably did it for, oh gosh, maybe a year and a half. And I was pretty good at it, I would say. But I really quickly learned that I didn't like selling what everybody else was selling. I didn't really care for building the teams, but I really learned a lot on, you know, client relationships and just being persistent, a lot of like just good business ethic, properties or, you know, personalities, whatever, that I learned. And the biggest thing I got out of it was that I loved business and I wanted to create my own. And so after about a year and a half, I was like, okay, I love fitness. I'm in this industry. I'm studying this. So I was at Michigan for movement science, which is exercise science in a fancy term. So I was like, I feel like I have enough background, enough interest, enough passion, and now enough business experience in a sense to try to go and do my own thing. And so my senior year at Michigan, I started seeking out entrepreneurship classes. So I took some classes at Ross, which is the business school at Michigan, even though I was in the sciences and the kinesiology school. And then that's when I also decided to apply and then get accepted into the Duke Master of Management program to give myself even more business background, which is when I was at Duke is when I actually created FIGR, not because I was in the business school, but because I had a classmate actually ask me for a workout program. And I was like, okay, like I never really saw myself wanting to sell workout programs. I don't know why, because that's exactly what you did at Beachbody anyways. But I thought I was going to go into like, you know, developing an app that helps you track things, or like go into the more habits. Like I've always been a more habits-based person, like learning the lifestyle around fitness versus like do this workout and whatever. But that's what I ended up doing. So I wrote out that workout program, and that kind of was what started FIGR. And then to build onto my business, you know, eyes, coming from a science world, going into business. First it was Beachbody, then it was taking classes at Michigan in undergrad, then it was going into my master's program at Duke. And then after Duke, I went to work at Walmart corporate in New York. And that's when I learned a lot of like applicable business background. And it sounds stupid to be working at Walmart, but Walmart is the Fortune 1 company in the world. And so having that training, what I did at Walmart was a portion of the website was treated as my own. So I managed, like when you go on walmart.com, like I managed like a piece of the website. So I did sales, I did marketing, I did financials, I did, you know, all the things as if it were my own business. And when I was doing that, I was like, okay, I really love business, but I'm not loving doing it for somebody else in an industry that I'm not passionate about. I was actually in the pets category, believe it or not. So if you go on Walmart and you search for like hamster wheels and dog toys and all of those things. Like that is what I was working for a year of like developing and like managing that as my own company, which is kind of funny. But it was during that time at Walmart where I felt like I needed to take FIGR full time. I was selling my fitness programs on the side my entire time at Duke, my entire time at Walmart. I would wake up early to go to the gym. I would work all day. I would come home at like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And then I would work from 7 to midnight or so, trying to develop FIGR as a brand, trying to get more clients, trying to, grow my social media pages and stuff at the time. And then I was also using the comfort of a paycheck and a salary to like kind of give me that base. I'm a very conservative person when it comes to financials. And so I've never been a big one to like put all my money in and like risk it all and hope for the best. I've been kind of like developing this over time, like very small pieces at a time. And so I was doing that while I was at Walmart. And then again, within that time, I was like, I don't want to work for somebody else. I could spend all my time doing FIGR and I could grow it. And I just had that feeling like that was what I wanted to do. And so after a year of working in New York, I moved back home and started FIGR full time. So going back to the question of like what made me decide to go the route of starting my own business, it was like kind of all these incremental steps of like just going for it when I saw that Beachbody post, and then kind of going into like seeking out business specific classes, seeking out that master's degree, which I did personally learn a lot from. I'm not saying that you need to have a degree or, hard, whatever's in education per se. But I do feel like it helped me frame my head around business and what it like takes. And I will say it did help me, but it's not like completely necessary for you to have to start your own business. So anyways, and then I used like my experiences, no matter where I was at, to grow my mindset and my skills around business as well. And so that's kind of that piece of that, which kind of leads into the next question, which was, what was one pivotal moment or decision that significantly shaped your career path? And I think being at Walmart and deciding to take FIGR full time was probably the biggest decision. All the other ones, like starting FIGR for the first time or joining Beachbody, was a big one. Going to Duke and like saying yes to creating that workout program for my friend. I could have said no and just not have gone anywhere and not have ever created FIGR. So there's like, those are pretty big ones too. But I feel like deciding to take FIGR full time was the biggest life altering decision, like deciding to leave corporate America, like where I went to school, Michigan and Duke, like all of my classmates and all my friends all kind of went the more traditional routes in terms of like business or consulting or physical therapy or very like solid like roles or solid career paths. And so coming from those backgrounds and then deciding to say, screw it, I'm going to do my own thing. Like that was a big step, especially for somebody as conservative as myself, or who wants to have like safety all the time from like a financial perspective. So it was a pivotal moment for me because of that. But in terms of like the conservativeness of it, I also had to frame myself looking backwards. Like this was 2019, when I decided to leave corporate America and move back home. I had already been building up my client base and my name in fitness for 4 years. So from 2015, when I started Beachbody, to 2019, I was in school until 2018. So I had like 3 years that I was building FIGR in education. Like I was at, both of my universities. And then for all of 2019, I had a salary backing. So I was like saving up every dollar I could. So for those 4 years, it wasn't like I just jumped into a business and like tried to go balls to the wall and like hope for the best. Like I had 4 years of built up experience. So I feel like that gave me some like almost a feeling of a safety net, or like I just knew by that point that I had enough behind me that I could start my own thing. And then moving back and like deciding to take FIGR full time was not this like glamorous thing that people like talk about, like, oh, I like went for it and started my own business and like did my own thing. Like I took a salary cut. I didn't have a salary anymore. I moved back into my parents' house after living in New York. I was actually on the New Jersey side of the Hudson River. So I walked the skyline every morning, which was beautiful. But New York wasn't all that glamorous either. And so moving back kind of away from what people see as success, like, oh, you moved to New York and you're working for the Fortune 1 company, all this stuff. Moving back into my parents, people were like, what are you doing? Like, that sounds like a total backtrack. But I just kept selling my programs. I kept trying to build FIGR as a brand. I built some more workout programs at the time. So I had 3 paperback that I would physically ship out to people. And then in 2019, when I moved home, that's also when Anthony, my then boyfriend, now husband, came home from playing professional football in Germany. And so we kind of joined forces at FIGR. At this point in time, FIGR, I officially started in early 2018. So this was a year and a half into FIGR's conception that we both kind of came on board together. And we collectively both had people, now that we were both back in Michigan at our home base, he was living at his parents, I was living at my parents. People kept asking us to train them because they saw, our online presence, which really wasn't big at the time either. But just neighbors, friends of friends, just started asking us to train them in person. And I also had never thought that I would be, a coach or trainer training people out of a gym. So, again, I was just kind of following the demand of what people were asking for and seeing what I was interested in doing. And so I said, sure, like, why not? But the only place that we had to train people was out of my parents' basement. And so which is where I lived at the time. He lived at his parents, which was 10 minutes down the road. But so that's what we did. We trained at my parents' gym from 2019 until we moved into our current house, which it was built in 2022. So that's like that crazy time period of like, just it was a big decision to move home, and then everything kind of clicked at once. And I think that is another thing to realize is like sometimes the biggest, scariest choices lead to the path that like you're supposed to be on. And so that was really cool to see, leaving that security net, coming home, doing it full time, and then seeing like Anthony join on board, really growing FIGR as like a business and a company at that point. It wasn't like something on the side anymore. It was our full-time thing. And then it was able to sustain us and like sustain our lifestyle up to this current day. One thing cool to note was, so I left Walmart in July of 2019. I lived on the New Jersey side, but almost all of my coworkers lived on the New York side. And obviously COVID hits in March of 2020. And they always say like, find a good secure job, like blah, 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 like betting on yourself sometimes can be risky. My position at Walmart got completely obliterated during COVID. So not only did the entire office shut down, my entire position was stopped. You either had to move to Bentonville, Arkansas, which is where Walmart headquarters was, or you got a severance package. And that was literally 9 months after I left the area. People had to pay their rent they had to move back home wherever that was during COVID, and still double pay their rent, which in New York and New Jersey is absolutely insane. And so I always like to put that story in there too, because everybody's like, oh, like working at the Fortune 1 company, like it's a lot of security, a lot of like you're taken care of. And literally that company and my position Walmart didn't get obliterated. The position I was in is like literally not a thing anymore. So it was just kind of crazy that betting on myself really was the safer option in terms of like, I was controlling what I was doing. I was not set back by COVID or external things, like even working for a high level company like that. So another reason to start your own thing and just go for it, which is really cool. So that was question number 2, was like, what was the one pivotal moment or decision that shaped your career path? And then the last question that they asked was how did starting up that business go? Like, what did that look like for you? So for me, it was piece by piece. There's like, I feel like business in general, sometimes it's often looked at, and there was actually somebody on the panel who this was their experience, where you have to like go into huge debt and get a giant loan and have this like giant detailed business plan, put everything into place, pitch it to an investor, and like you either fail really fast or you succeed and you kind of like grind it out for like forever. The grinding it out part, it's always going to be there as a business owner, but all the other stuff kind of wasn't like that for me, as I've already discussed a little bit. Like first I joined Beachbody, and that was like the small step, and I started getting a little bit of clients. Then I first created my FIGR lean workout program. I found a free platform online. It was called MagCloud, and it would allow I would send a link to people. They would purchase it through the website. MagCloud would create the booklet from my PDF, ship it to them, and I would just get the profit back. So I didn't even have to pay for the platform that I was shipping it out on. I created it on the Adobe platform. We didn't have Canva and stuff at the time. I learned Adobe by myself, and we had a free account through my Michigan email. So I didn't even pay for like the software to create it. Like I was so cheap, you guys. Like I was so conservative this whole route. So you don't have to go just balls to the wall up front if that's not you. Maybe it is you, and that's not wrong either, but it's not the only option for creating and starting a business. But once I created that PDF, found that platform, sold it, I then like created a test group. I just posted on my Instagram, like, hey, anybody want to try my workout program? $5, looking for feedback. I got 20 people to do it, $100, felt awesome at the time. And then I launched it after I made a few tweaks. After I did that, I got now at that point, I was like, okay, like this can be a real thing. So I got an LLC. We established FIGR as an LLC. I trademarked FIGR and Fit is Getting Real. At that time, that felt like a really big and like permanent decision. So that was like really scary, but exciting at the time. I started just tracking my financials. I kept a list of all the potential clients I had or people I was talking to in like an Excel file. Once that started rolling, I created 2 more programs, FIGR Shred and FIGR Elite. And so I just kind of continued on that path, growing my client list, developing my social media pages. I had a website. I learned website design by myself. And now at this point, I do my entire website. I actually have been paid to create other people's websites as well. So that was kind of a fun skill to learn throughout the process. After that, like that's when after we created 2 of those programs and I moved back home, we just had people ask us to train them in person. So, I kind of followed the demand there. Then we created our apparel once we were like training people in person, because we're like, oh, how cool would it be to have people wear FIGR on their shirts? Like crazy concept. So we created some apparel. During COVID, we switched over to our app program because we had a few months off where we couldn't train people in person. Even at my parents' house, we only took like 2 months off, but regardless, that's when we pivoted to app-based program versus our physical books that we were shipping out. We grew our classes from word of mouth and social media and friends of friends. We never did any paid ads or anything. It was just kind of a natural growth kind of thing. So this is all just like developing over the course of 6 years. And so going back to the question of like, how did starting that up go? Like it really has been just like a slow rolling ball that just keeps building steam, which is, has really helped from a lifestyle perspective too. It's kind of grown with me as I was a college student and then a working student or a working person, and then a homeowner and then a mom. Like it's kind of grown with us as our lifestyle has changed as well. Which kind of brings me to 2021, which is when I got pregnant, which is when I hopped into the pregnancy and postpartum world because I literally could not get enough of it. I consume it on a daily basis. I still like would rather read a research paper on pregnancy and postpartum than like watch a TV show. Like I am so obsessed with learning in this space, and even being in here for now 5 years now and kind of being an established, trainer and professional in the space, like there's so much to dive into that it just like still makes me so excited every day. But again, this whole time I just kind of kept following what I loved doing and what people were naturally coming to me for. And that's kind of how, again, I just developed or started from where I was and to where we are now. So it wasn't like 11 years ago when I started Beachbody, I like knew I was going to be here. I had this like solid plan. Each piece has just been like the right next step essentially. And I just always, again, followed what I wanted to do, sought what others were like seeking me out for, adapting to my lifestyle and making it fit for my life so that I was enjoying every piece of it. Cause I think there's a piece to learn about burnout and going too hard, too fast and like hating what you're doing. And then that's going to make you quit faster than anything. So I feel like each step I've made, it's been a positive for what I want to do and how I want my life to be, and also a positive for the business. So it doesn't have to be like this giant like corporate structure that you're like, selling your soul for. It can be something really fun and exciting and something that develops over time. And I wish more people knew that about business, that it can be something that's really supplemental to your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be a one or the other thing, especially when it comes to being a working mom. I currently have a 4-year-old and a almost 3-month-old tomorrow. So obviously that's my life. That's my priority and my main piece of life. But I also can have so much fun doing my business on the side. I guess not on the side. They're both very much priorities, but obviously being a mom is my main priority, which brings me to the point of pregnancy and postpartum. Being in this industry is like, I could not picture anything better in the world, because I have my girls like with me in class, and they are, they give me insight to then help other moms with it. So I feel a really deep connection with my own clients, because I am my own client. I know exactly what you guys are going through and how to help you. And I get to bring my girls along with me. Like my 4-year-old's like, "Oh, Mom, do you have your postpartum class today?" Like she knows what that is. And she like does burpee broad jumps with my husband in his high rocks class. Like she very much so sees fitness now as like just a way of life and just what we do. And that is, in my opinion, so key in helping the next generation, like developing themselves in their health and in their wellness, and just like being a happier generation of like prioritizing themselves. So it's really cool being in this industry, knowing that like I can not only bring my girls along with me and help, and they can see me working hard and developing my own business. And like, obviously like Anthony and I grow this together too. So it's like, oh, they're like mom and dad, like doing stuff together. Like that's really cool too. So it doesn't have to be like family or business. You can find ways to make business part of your family's like lifestyle too. So overall, just feeling like, I don't know, really special, I guess, and seeing things come full circle, going back to Michigan's campus, being in a position to help guide students where I once stood, like being on that panel instead of in the seats, like listening to professionals in the space, being somewhere where I wanted to go. Again, like sometimes, like I said at the beginning, like getting that imposter syndrome, like feeling like, I don't know, we're not growing fast enough or big enough, or like maybe nobody really sees what we're actually doing, but then having that invite and then being like, oh yeah, like we see what you're doing. Like that's a really cool feeling for a business owner as well. So for other business owners out there, just know that like, even if you feel that imposter syndrome too, or like you're not growing fast enough, like you are always impacting more people than you think. And just to keep on keeping on. So, again, kind of a different podcast episode today, but thought it was really fun and exciting to go on that panel and just share a few insights. So, with that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Mother Figures podcast. If these episodes help or resonate with you in any way, it would be so helpful to the show if you could leave a review so we can get this into more moms' hands. And if you're looking for even more guidance and direction when it comes to pregnancy and postpartum fitness, I got you covered. My Mother Figures app subscription includes my FIGR pregnancy and FIGR postpartum workout programs, in addition to our general fitness programs. You'll get the day-by-day workouts you need to help you feel strong, pain-free, and labor-ready during pregnancy, and also the recovery, strength, and progressions you'll need to get back to the activities you love
full of strength and without symptoms after baby arrives. If you're local to the Brighton, Michigan area, I also host daily women's functional fitness classes, a 6-week postpartum return to fitness course, and pregnancy and postpartum consultation sessions. For those who are providers, coaches, or practitioners in the space, I hold a live Mother FIGRs certification course that equips you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to train and work with this population. For information on all of these services and programs, make sure to check out fitisgettingreal.com/moms or head to the show notes for the direct link. I'm so thankful that you tuned in to today's episode, and I will catch you next time.